Hello and welcome to a DFS preview for the 2024 Masters Tournament. My name is Eric and I'm here with SweetSpotDFS to go over everything you need to know on how to target the optimal lineup this week. I'll be going over the course and tournament information. I'll go over past optimal and GPP winning lineups, and then I'm going to break down the bucket system, which is my way of telling you guys what are the most important stats for this event. But before we get into any of that, just a quick reminder, I am going to do a giveaway Tuesday night for $100. You see it on the screen right there. I always do a weekly giveaway. So if you want entries into either of these giveaways, all you have to do is be subscribed to the channel and comment down below. This is going to be going out on a Friday night. I will be cutting it up into segments that'll go out Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And then Tuesday, I will be doing a live strategy video, where I will do the giveaway. Now, I'm only giving away $100 if we reach the sub goal you see all the way over there to the left. I'm at 680 subscribers out of 700, so I just need 20 new subscribers. And again, if you want an entry into this giveaway, all you got to do is be subscribed and comment down below. If you need a topic, give me your favorite golfer you're going to play this week. Just write that single name down in the comment section below and you get credit into this giveaway. And then be present Tuesday night to see if your name is called, because you have to reach out to me if you win. I don't have access to see anyone's email address or anything like that. I can't contact you through YouTube, so you will have to contact me letting me know you won the giveaway. So again, if you're interested in free money, all you gotta do is be subscribed and comment down below. Now, I'm also providing a cheat sheet this week. You can find a link to that in the description of this video. I have a Masters cheat sheet as well as a Masters bucket system sheet. All of this is available to you. Everything that I will be going over in this video, you can find in the cheat sheet. So you won't be lost. You can literally follow along with me as I go over everything. Find it in the description. And oh, by the way, I have a website. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I forgot to swing it over here. You can find everything here as well. It is very bare bones at the moment. So all you have to do is just log in, create an account. You can create a free account and you can find the cheat sheet under fantasy tools. It will load. You have all the tabs, everything that you can see or everything that I'll be covering, you can find there, or you can click right here, this little button there. That will bring you to the sheet I was just showing you. So I will also link SweetSpotDFS.com in the description of this video. Check it out, sign up. There are several ways that you can become a member. I don't recommend signing up for the weekly, monthly, or yearly plans just yet, because again, this is just a bare bones website. But if you want to have a lifetime, if you want lifetime access, you can become a founding member. I am going to limit this to the first 25 users, 25 subscribers, I should say, or just members, 25 members. So once we get to 25, this option will be gone. And this means, again, you get lifetime. That's a $600 value. Most fantasy websites or any data websites are charging anywhere from $200 to $300 a year to use. So you could grab lifetime access for $600. This is the only one I suggest you to pay for. These three, once again, don't do it just yet. I will give you the okay to go ahead and sign up for any of these. But again, if you want to become a founding member, go for it. Otherwise, there is a free access. You can certainly join the website for free. But you can find those tools. You can find the cheat sheet there. I will also drop the optimizer that I will be using to build lineups Tuesday night, because that's what I do on these strategy videos. We go over all the specific things to narrow down our player pools, and then I build lineups after that. So those are all the housekeeping items that I have. Again, there's the giveaway entry for $100 Tuesday night. The cheat sheet, I will provide an optimizer Tuesday. Once I get the tee times from the Masters, I will then update the optimizer and it will be complete. So that will be available after that moment. One other thing I forgot to mention, I am partnered with PrizePicks. So if you sign up using the promo code SweetSpot and put at least $20 in your account, I will give you $20 back. There's a link for that in the description here as well. It's just my way of helping you out, your way of helping me out. You get to play it for free, plus PrizePicks will match your deposit up to $100. So you don't have to just put $20 in your account, but if you want to play this for free, that's all you got to do. I'll give you your $20 back. So those are all the giveaways. Those are all the housekeeping items. Let's go ahead and jump right into this video and start with the course and tournament information. As it goes with all course and tournament information segments in my videos, I like to start with the tournament fact sheets, which you can find at the gcsaa.org. This gives you a bunch of data points you can use for researching. You have the tournament, obviously it's the Masters. We have the golf course, which everybody knows, the par, the yardage. All of these things are great things to know. I always tell you this is the most important piece, the turf grass. We have bent grass greens, we have bent grass, basically everything, or ryegrass overseed. So I am personally just using bent grass in all my stats. And oh, by the way, if you go to the cheat sheet, you can scroll over and see we have bent grass for the course fit stats. So these are all based off of their finishing positions, how many events they played, their average finishing position, their top 10% or their top 10 hit rate, I guess you want to call it. How about this? The percentage they fit inside the top 10 on bent grass golf courses. And then I'm going back 52 weeks, 365 days, looking at their average finishing position on bent grass. Oh, by the way, Scotty is on top by a mile. But this is all available in the cheat sheet. So again, link in the description for that. Going back to the tournament fact sheets, you can find some more interesting information when you scroll through it. Again, you can find this at the gcsaa.org. Scroll to the bottom, you'll see media links or something like that. Find the tournament fact sheets and just check it out. But these are all data points you can use for researching. Now, I also like to map every single golf course in these course and tournament information segments because I want to know what shot shape is more beneficial at a specific golf course. Now, here's the wonderful thing about Augusta. Most people think you need to have a right to left shot shape, and that is very advantageous. You can see how many, by the way, the shot shapes that I have here, this is off the tee shot shapes, this is approach shot shapes. These are just beneficial. It doesn't mean it's necessary. Some of these shots are not necessary. They're just beneficial. I think they will help each of the golfers score, birdies or eagles if they have a specific shot shape. When we look at kind of the summary down here, there are 7 holes where I think draws are important, either off the tee or approach. There are 5 holes I think fades are important, whether it's off the tee or approach. You can listen to a lot of the PGA Tour players that have played at this golf course, some of the Champions Tour members who talk about certain things. Jack Nicklaus is known for saying, yeah, okay, you need to draw it around some of the bends like hole 13 and stuff like that, but most of the pin positions would be beneficial if you hit a fade into the green. And obviously Jack primarily hit a fade in his career, and he's had the most success at the Masters. So personally, how I feel, or what I feel about shot shapes at Augusta, you just need someone who can work the golf ball both directions, like a Phil Mickelson, a Tiger Woods. Those are guys, just recently that move the golf ball both directions. Believe it or not, Dustin Johnson can do that. So too can John Rahm. Shot shapers, golfers that have complete control over their golf ball. Now, could a Colin Morikawa win this tournament? Yes, he can, but he's got to be absolutely perfect, striping the ball dead straight. But there are benefits. You can even hear like Phil Mickelson talk about it. Hitting fades into slopes will cause the ball to not funnel down the slope as much. There are certain things that you need to know, and that's why they always say course history reigns supreme at the Masters. Just having that knowledge is the biggest help. But you could also just be a rookie with complete ignorance coming into this golf course, being able to flight the ball on command and do really well at this tournament. Like, I think of a Thomas Pieters, his first time he played. He was one of those guys that could shape shots in all directions. He flighted his golf ball beautifully when he came on tour. He did well at the Genesis, and then he came to the Masters and did well at the Masters. He was someone who, you know, it was his first start at the Masters, and he was able to hit shots around corners, shots into pins, and had a top 10 finish the first year he played. So just keep all of that in mind. And I don't have the complete cheat sheet updated with every golfer's shot shape, but I do have preferred shot shapes in here. I will comb through this later on to make sure I have everyone's shot shape in here, or at least up to my knowledge when it comes to shot shapes. You can take a look. This is on the cheat sheet. I'm currently looking at the cheat sheet, column P for shot shape. I wouldn't let this dictate who you play. Let this be something that's kind of a tiebreaker. So if you want more draw golfers on your team, you obviously can use the cheat sheet to find that information. Personally, again, I wouldn't get too wrapped up into it. Make it a tiebreaker. That's about it. And by the way, before I get any flack, yes, these PGA Tour golfers can shape shots any direction they need. Here's the thing. There's still, just like you and I, we can still hit a draw if we want to. It's just not going to be on control or in control. Same goes with fades. That's why you see certain golfers who primarily hit a specific shot shape, when forced to hit the opposite, never really perform that well. Again, it's not saying they can't hit a specific shot shape. It's just, if it's not easy for them to do so, they're not going to have control in doing it. So those are my 2 cents. I don't have right-handed versus left-handed golfers, but there aren't going to be many left-handed golfers in this field. You can think of Phil Mickelson. You can think of Brian Harmon. I have a feeling Akshay could win the Valero, and he would be in this event, and I would love that because he shapes the golf ball all directions. I really love how he can flight a golf ball. I might be missing 1 or 2 lefties, but you know, you guys can do your research on the lefties there. Just remember, lefties, it's an opposite shot shape. So when I look back at my mapping of this golf course, anything that says draw would just be the opposite. It would be a fade, and anything that's a fade would be a draw for a lefty. Just keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to the tournament, if I go back to my cheat sheet, the strength of field's 806. You know, it's an invitation the Masters sends out to the best golfers in the world. You know, we have live golfers here who got invites like Joaquin Niemann. You know, you have past champions like Phil Mickelson. I'm talking about live golfers now. Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, John Rahm, your defending champion. You've got those guys. We have Bryson. He got in. Well, I think he got in probably through the U.S. Open a couple years ago. If not, again, the Masters has the right to invite whoever they want. And they're most likely trying to get the best golfers here. I mean, that's kind of what the Masters has always been. So you got 806 for the strength of field. That is very strong. It's probably one of the strongest fields we've seen this year. I have a feeling that there was an 873 or a couple of the signature events had higher strength of fields. And the reason why this isn't that high is because you've got some of the past champions here, like Jose Maria Olazabal. VJ's here, Mike Weir's here, Fred Couples. These guys have no shot to win the tournament. It's just you get a lifelong exemption into the Masters if you ever win the Masters. And then you have all the different amateur champions like Stuart Hagestad. He's always here. I can't remember exactly the amateur championship he wins every single year, but I think it's the mid-am. Could be wrong on that. I really don't care. I also will just stay away from the amateurs. We did have 1 or 2 amateurs within the last 10 years get really close to finishing inside the top 10, but they rarely do. So you have a lot of, I don't want to disrespect these guys, but you've got a lot of fillers down here, and they don't really add anything to the strength of field. And that's, again, by the way, there are 88 golfers or 87 golfers currently in the field. If the Valero Texas Open champion is not already exempt into the Masters, they will then be exempt. and then we'll have one more golfer. So we'll have 88 total. Again, I'm hoping for Akshay. We'll see. He currently has a 5-shot lead the last time I looked, but anything can happen. Masters also has top 50 in ties. They used to have all golfers within 10 strokes. I don't think that's the Masters cut rules. I am sorry for not being prepared. I'm going to look for it right now. It's top 50 in ties. That's it. Yeah, there's no 10-shot thing anymore. So top 50 in ties for the Masters. There are 88 golfers. So getting 6 to 6 through the cut should be easier than usual. Again, you can cut a few of these golfers out, like the past champions, the amateurs, stuff like that. You can cut those golfers out. I think it's going to be just fine. I mean, like probably 11 golfers maybe you could cut out of your pool, and now you're stuck with like 60 some golfers, and 50 make the cut. Top 50 in ties make the cut. So just remember all of that. It's still here at SweetSpot DFS, we're trying to target the optimal lineup. We want to build the perfect lineup. We don't necessarily care about the cut. We have to make different lineups in order to take down the GPP. That's all that I have for the course and tournament information. Let's move on to the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. When it comes to the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups, by the way, this is sponsored by the Fantasy Golf Pod. Check them out Wednesdays, usually in the morning, around 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. They are sponsoring this segment. They're also the ones that are helping with giving away $100. So go check in with them Wednesdays. Go thank them with a subscription and a like on their video. When it comes to optimal and GPP winning lineups for the Masters, we can start all the way back to 2015. 2015 is the first time I have salaries in my spreadsheets. And in 2015, we had some really odd salaries. Now, one thing I want to get out there right away, because some people always kind of find it, they're a bit skeptical when it comes to salary analysis. Why are we looking at salaries? Well, to put it in Chad Eckert, who is the host of the Fantasy Golf Pod, to put it in his words, salaries are DraftKings power rankings, right? So they rank whoever they think is the best golfer in the field at the highest price point. Now, when it comes to those price points, DraftKings for a long time have done a very traditional way of building lineups. Now, if you're an avid DFS golfer, you already know that DraftKings has dipped down into the 5K range. We don't have that this year, which is great because every year except for 2015, it's basically started 6K and up. So when we analyze salaries, we can try to figure out, does the top price guy, the TPG, as Chad Eckert likes to say, does he finish, inside the top 10? Does he finish inside the top 5? Is he in the optimal lineup? And how often is he? That's what I like to go over in these pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. So in 2015, despite the salaries being weird, you still can get a sense of what to do this week. So obviously, in 2015, you see Rory McIlroy finished 4th. He was $14,000 or $14,900. He was almost $15,000 at the 2015 Masters tournament. And he was not in the GPP winning lineup, and he was not in the optimal lineup. So let's go over the optimal. Basically, it's all these golfers with the black tick marks. We've got Jordan Spieth at 11.9. So again, $11,900. Is that too expensive? Doesn't look like it. 11.9. Jordan Spieth, 9,900. Phil Mickelson, he wasn't in the optimal. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. $9,700 Justin Rose was in the optimal. So too was $7,300 Paul Casey, $7,400 Ian Poulter, $7,000 Zach Johnson, and $6,000 Charlie Hoffman. So this is the optimal lineup. This is the perfect lineup. And it left $700 on the table. They don't have the total points. Anyways. So that was the best lineup you could build that week. Now, the Millie Maker lineup use up all 50,000 of the salary, and it's these golfers that are highlighted in blue. We have an 11.9, 99, and $9,700 golfer in that lineup. Then you have a 6, 6, 65. This is the definition of stars and scrubs. 3 golfers, $9,700 and above, and basically 2 min, well, they wouldn't have been min priced guys. We see some $4,000 golfers here. 2015 was wild. But you have 6,000, 6,000, and 6,500. That is very stars and scrubs. Moving on to 2016, your optimal lineup left $500 on the table, and we had a $12,300 Jordan Spieth. So again, just thinking, are these salary, like, can you do these salaries? Looks like we dropped down in the 5K. I don't have all of them populated. I had to go through the internet and try to find, basically I had to find articles of golfer or articles of people who liked certain golfers and whatever their price tags were with them. I didn't actually have access to all the price tags, but I was able to finish most of it, at least enough of the top here that matters. So anyways, $12,300 Jordan Spieth, $8,000 Danny Willett, 2 7K golfer, or make that 3 7K golfers and a 6K golfer. So a different way to say that is really a 10, an 8, 3 7s, and a 6, but it's really a 12. A 12, an 8, 3 7s, and a 6. That was your optimal lineup. It left $500 on the table. Your Millie Maker lineup, again, used all $50,000 of the salary, which I think we're probably going to see no matter what. And they started with a 12, 9, 8, 7, 7, 5. We don't have a 5K golfer this year, but that is what they used in the 2016 Millie Maker winning lineup. In 2017, your optimal lineup left a lot of money on the table, left $1,700, and that's primarily because there was no 10K golfer that finished inside the top 6. Rory finished 7th. He was 10,600. But then even after that, we don't have any other 10K golfer until 11th place Jordan Spieth. Yeah, your optimal lineup there was 83, 92, 79, 74, 77, and 78. There's Thomas Peters. I was talking about him earlier. Had never played there before and finished 4th. This is when I was talking about golfers who shape shots in both directions. That was Thomas Peters during his first time playing the Masters. But anyways, 9, 8, and 4 7s. That made your optimal lineup. Now, I never ever advise leaving money on the table. I think it's fool's gold to do that. Leaving $1,700 on the table, that's difficult to do. I would not do that. Now, it looks like I didn't record the Millie Maker lineup that year, but I have a realistic optimal lineup. See, the optimal lineup scored 561, and this lineup that I'm going to tell you scored 541. And that was a $10,600 Rory McIlroy. So going 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. And if you are new to the channel, I usually recommend that type of salary structure. Start that way. It's easier to build lineups like that. At least that's in my opinion. Start that way. And you often see optimal lineups or GPP winning lineups having that structure. It starts with a 10, 9, 8, 7, and then it either adds a 7 and a 6, a 7 and a 7, or a 6 and a 6. Those are your 3 main optimal lineup builds, as well as your main GPP winning lineup builds. Moving on to 2018, the optimal lineup left $200 on the table. It scored 609 points. Started with $7,700 Patrick Reed, $9,000 Ricky Fowler, $10,400 Jordan Spieth, $8,700 Bubba Watson, 71 and 71 in Charlie Hoffman and Russell Henley. The Millie Maker winning lineup used once again all $50,000 of the salary. So you don't have to get cute. If you want to win $1 million, you don't have to leave a lot of money on the table. On a limited field like this, you're going to hear a lot of people say, leave up to $500, $600, $700, $1,000 on the table. No, you don't have to. Not only was the perfect lineup close to 50,000, the actual Millie Maker winning lineup was 50,000 of the salary cap. It was those 3 top golfers that I already named, Reed, Fowler, and Spieth when it comes to the Millie Maker winning lineup. They also had Bubba Watson and Charlie Hoffman, who were in the optimal lineup, but instead of having Cam Smith, they had Russell Henley. And quite frankly, they missed out on the optimal lineup by 3 points. So the optimal scored 609, the Millie Maker scored 606. So you had to be perfect in order to take down $1 million. Otherwise, you just shared. You'd have shared the $1 million and then like the $100,000 second place. I think that's how much it's worth. So you would have split like 600,000, which is still good, but it's not $1 million, you know. Moving to 2019, your optimal lineup left $100 on the table. So too did your Millie Maker lineup. So we start with 10.5 Tiger Woods, 9.5 Brooks Koepka, $8,500 Xander Schauffele, $7,400 Webb Simpson, $7,700 Patrick Cantlay, and $6,300 Justin Harding. That was your optimal lineup. Your GPP winning lineup did not have Tiger Woods at 10.5. It had Brooks at 9.5, $8,500 Xander Schauffele, $8,600 Francesco Molinari, $8,200 Tony Finau, $7,400 Webb Simpson, and $7,700 Patrick Cantlay. They both left $100 on the table. Your optimal scored 609. Your Millie Maker scored 603. So if you're really interested in winning $1 million, you need to focus on trying to hit the optimal lineup, which I know all of us are trying to do anyways. I'm the only person really digging into the specifics on how to target the optimal. So if there's ever a reason to follow this channel, it is for the Masters, because we're going to dig into everything you need to know on how to hit the optimal lineup. So that was your 2019 optimal and Millie Maker. Let's continue on. In 2020, this was the November Masters. You had Dustin Johnson at 10,000 in the optimal lineup. By the way, the optimal left $900 on the table. So it was 10, 7, 7, 10, 6, 7. Let's repeat that in a different way. 2 10s, 3 7s, and a 6. That was your optimal lineup. Left $900 on the table. Again, your Millie Maker lineup left $0 on the table. Use up all $50,000 of the salary. The top 4 golfers, like we just named in the optimal lineup, 2 10s and 2 7s. But the GPP winning lineup had 2 more 7K golfers in it. So did not have a $6,500 Dylan Fratelli. Instead of Dylan Fratelli, you had Abraham Answer. So that's how you use up $50,000 of the salary. It was $900 more. Optimal scored 676. The Millie Maker scored 656. So there was a bigger gap that year. But again, you still need to be near perfect. All right, moving on to 2021. Your optimal lineup left $900 on the table, and it consisted of Xander Schauffele at 10,000, $9,400 Jordan Spieth, $8,300 Hideki Matsuyama, $7,300 Will Zalatoris, $7,200 Justin Rose, and $6,900 Corey Connors. Again, that left $900 on the table. Your Millie Maker finally finally left some money on the table. It left $400 instead of using up all $50,000, and it's the same 4 golfers at the top that we talked about. 10K Xander, $9,400 Jordan, $8,300 Hideki, $7,300 Will Zalatoris. It also included $6,900 Corey Connors. Just to mention this, he was the most owned, one of the most owned golfers on the slate. Let me just double check that. Everyone was talking about how you should fade him because he's going to be super high owned. Yeah, 21% in the 6K range. Just wanted to mention that. But it was Corey Connors, and then it was $7,700 Karl Casey. That was your Millie Maker winning lineup. The optimal scored 589, and the Millie Maker scored 571. So 18-point gap. You could easily find yourself in between there. But again, it is definitely advantageous to try your best to hit the perfect lineup. In 2022, your optimal lineup left $0 on the table. 0. And it started with Scottie Scheffler at 11,000, $9,900 Cam Smith, $8,800 Shane Lowry, $7,600 Corey Connors, $6,200 Charles Schwartzel, and $6,500 Min Woo Lee. So just to kind of structure that differently, that is a 10.98.766. Like I said in the beginning of this video, starting out that salary structure is the best way to go. Your Millie Maker winning lineup left $200 on the table, and it also started with Scottie Scheffler, had Cam Smith, Shane Lowry in it as well, $6,200 Charles Schwartzel, $6,800 Kevin Na, but it had $7,100 Siwoo Kim down here in 39th place. So that's a bit odd when we've been going through this. Optimal scored 507.5. Your Millie Maker scored 477. That's a 30-point difference. I was gonna say 40 math. 30-point difference. So really, beating the Millie Maker in 2022 was a bit easier than the previous years where you kind of needed the perfect lineup to do so. But just want to mention, perfect lineup left $0 on the table. In 2023, so last year where John Rahm won, you're going to see a SweetSpot Optimal. I'll talk about that. But the Optimal left $1,200 on the table. It started with John Rahm at $10,800. We had Jordan Spieth at $9,700. And then we had 3 7K golfers and 1 6K golfer in Phil Mickelson. Your Millie Maker lineup, though, was 10-8 John Rahm, $7,600 Brooks Koepka, $7,300 Patrick Reed, 2 8K golfers in Cam Young and Victor Hovland, $7,100 Chris Kirk rounds it out. Now, these SweetSpot well, first of all, the optimal lineup scored 577.5 points. The Millie Maker lineup scored 542. So there's also a 30-point difference between the two. SweetSpot Optimal, number 1. Those are the golfers here with the green salaries next to him. So it's John Rahm at 10-8, $9,500 Patrick Cantlay, $8,100 Sung Jae Im, $7,900 Shane Lowry, $7,300 Patrick Reed, and $6,400 Phil Mickelson. Millie Maker scored 542. Your SweetSpot Optimal scored 507. So it wasn't as good. So the SweetSpot Optimal number 2 had no minimums. I think that's what probably did it in. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I'll remember this for the strategy video. So without the minimums, allowing the maximums to happen. Optimal lineup 2, or where all the golfers here in the red font. So that was John Rahm at 10-8, $9,700 Jordan Spieth, $8,500 Victor Hovland, $7,600 Brooks Koepka, $7,000 Russell Henley, and $6,400 Phil Mickelson, and used up all $50,000 of the salary. So that is interesting. I'm going to have to remember that. The minimums, I think having the live golfers in the field is what kind of did it in, because having a second place Brooks Koepka, actually 2 second place live golfers and Brooks Koepka and Phil Mickelson, and then a 4th place Patrick Reed really puts a wrench into the bucket system because we're not tracking live tour data. When you look at those 3 golfers up there inside the top 4, that is a course history angle beyond any course history angle, because you're going to see they have 0 recent form stats. Yeah, we could include live, but they also weren't playing that great leading into it. Brooks, I think, won the live event right before jumping into the Masters, but this is just all course history. You have Phil, who's a past Masters champion. You had Patrick Reed, who's a past Masters champion. Brooks has played really well, not only in the majors, but also at the Masters. Famously in 2019, I think he finished 2nd to Tiger, right? Yeah, he tied Dustin and Xander for 2nd. So that's something to keep an eye out for all the live golfers in the field this year, is course history. So when we move to 2024, 12,100 is our highest salary. That is very manageable. You know, we have seen previous optimal lineups with like 12,300 or something like that. Let me double check. We had $11,000 Scotty. I'm trying to remember the $12,000 one that we saw. Yeah, there it is. 12,300. I was right. Jordan Spieth in 2016. So it is very possible that a $12,100 Scotty Scheffler can be in the optimal lineup. He's definitely going to have to finish, you know, probably 5th place or better in order to pay off any kind of lineup consideration. But this is a course history heavy tournament, and some of your top priced guys have really good course history. So if we have, you know, of the top 10 golfers, you know, Jordan Spieth and up, of the 10 golfers here, If say 60%, 50, like 5 of them, 6 of them, maybe even 7 of them finish inside the top 10 and Scotty doesn't win, then you wouldn't want to play Scotty. So it's really going to have to be, is it Scotty or someone else that wins this tournament? And I know everyone's going to probably pick everyone else because you're going to have better odds doing that. I'm undecided. I'm not exactly sure if I like Scotty more than I like the rest of the guys. I'll have to build some lineups just to double check, follow the sweet spot process while doing that. You're also going to see some golfers are still playing the Valero Texas Open. And it really depends on what they do at that tournament before I really make a decision as to what I like for salaries. But the cheapest guy is 6K. Remember, we're probably not going to play the bottom end of these golfers because they're amateurs or past champions, but everyone else is pretty in play. You know, low 6K, high 6K, does not matter. Lineup building is going to be a lot of fun. Again, we'll build lineups Tuesday night. But this is going to conclude the Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups. Let's get into the next segment, which is going to be the bucket system. All right, let's talk about the bucket system for the Masters tournament. If you're new to the channel, I have a video that explains all about the bucket system. You can find a link to that video in the description. All you need to do, you can follow along with me on the cheat sheet because I am providing this exact bucket system for you there. Link in the description for that cheat sheet. Look at these 2 columns, min projection and max projection. There are some quick rules that you just need to know. When you're looking at the min projection, so let's use this very first one, the last year 1 bucket. The minimum you always want to round down. So 2.333 becomes 2. In the max projection, 3.89, we always want to round up, so that becomes 4. So how you would read this, for last year 1s, I am projecting 2 to 4 golfers to finish inside the top 10. And then what you can do is go to the dream sheet or the cheat sheet, put a filter, the DraftKings filter on it, and basically just look at the last year 1s. If you look, there's 20 golfers here. If I go to my summary, you're going to find in the bucket totals, there are 20 golfers there. So I go back, I look at the golfers here, and we're projecting 2 to 4 to be inside the top 10. So the 4 golfers up here, hard to argue against. And again, if I'm projecting 2 to 4 inside the top 10, what do you do with the rest of the guys? This is where you can really make your stand. Do you want Scotty and say Cantlay in your lineups? And you're just going to say, you know, the live golfers aren't going to be as lucky this year, as good as John Rahm is. He's not playing on the PGA Tour, so he's not going to finish inside the top 10. Are you going to say the same thing about Brooks? How about Yako or Joaquin Niemann? Are you going to do the same thing with him? This is where you can make your stand. This is where I think, if I were to guess, picking the right golfers to put in your lineups from this bucket is going to help you the most when it comes to building the optimal lineup. Obviously, you need to regardless, but this is the bucket that's probably going to matter the most. The last year 1s. And again, I'm projecting 2 to 4. Now, if you're wondering what goes into these projections, it's looking at every golfer that's ever been in this bucket before, looking at the success rate, combining that with how many golfers are in that bucket this year versus what we normally see. And then we're adding the strength of field points to the formula to come up with the projections. So again, it's primarily like success rate. How often have we seen this bucket perform, or how many golfers from this bucket have finished inside the top 10? Out of all of them, 22.94%. That's pretty high. That's really, really good. And basically, like, what's the strength of field? Like, how quality is that bucket? That's what goes into the projections. You can also see some historical data, like these are basically your frequency numbers. The minimum that we have from this bucket to finish inside the top 10 is 2. So every single year, dating back to 2011, because 2010 is when I start recording the stats, we've seen at least 2 golfers who've top 20'd at the Masters the year before finish inside the top 10 the very next year. And then we've seen up to 7, a max of 7. Now, if you really want to get out into the nitty gritty, you can look at the optimal lineups over here. Here's your frequency numbers for optimal lineup. We've never seen more than 3 in the optimal lineup from this bucket, but we've also seen 0. So that's another good question you have to ask yourself. Can any of these golfers win the tournament? Obviously, the questions or the answer is yes. But if you really wanted to be contrarian, maybe you fade some of these top guys and you go with other golfers. Because the bucket's kind of saying, hey, there's been 1 year, and I think it's been 1 year because if we go back to 2015, 88.89% is the frequency rate of seeing at least 1 golfer in the optimal lineup. How about this? Let's just go back and take a look. I'm not going to actually do a deep dive on all of these buckets, but I just want to show you. If I go to the last year ones and I go down to the optimal lineup, this is what we're looking at right here. Last year ones. So last year was the first year we didn't see a golfer in the optimal lineup from this bucket. That was the first and only year. And oh, by the way, in 2019 was the only other year where we didn't see at least 2 golfers from that bucket in the optimal lineup. That's what this is, the optimal lineup. So going back to 2015, we have 2 years where we didn't produce at least 2 golfers in the optimal lineup from that bucket. So let's take a look at 2023, just to put our mind at ease. We had Scotty, who finished first the year before. He was your defending champion. He finished 10th place. So too did Matt Fitzpatrick, and so too did Colin Morikawa. So they did finish inside the top 10, but they were 10th place even. That is why the bucket system did not work last year, is because for the first time we didn't have golfers from that bucket inside the top 5. That's very interesting, by the way, very interesting. So keep all of that in mind. Like I said, I'm not going to go over every single bucket, but I'm just trying to really go in depth on how you can read the bucket system. Again, this is available to you on the cheat sheet. If you go to the Masters bucket system page, everything that I was just showing you is right here. You can see everything that I'm covering on my bucket system. Again, link in the description for that cheat sheet. But I'm back to mine. Here's what I want you all to do. Analyze this, look into it, try to find your golfers that you like from each bucket. Remember, there are 6 stat categories, and you can see what the buckets are here. There are 6 last year buckets, 6 last week buckets, 6 course history buckets, 6 recent form, 6 salary, and 6 strokes gain buckets. And then you can see all the projections that go with them. Again, you can do your deep dive analysis. I'm giving you the top 5 frequencies. These are the top 10 frequencies. You have the optimal lineup frequencies. You have everything that I have to help you pick your golfers more intelligently. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go over the anchor buckets. The anchor buckets to me are just the, for sure, you have to select a golfer from this bucket no matter what. So let's do that and really just go over those. Find that. All you got to do, filter by condition, go into the max projection filter, filter by condition, and go greater than or equal to 2. This, more often than not, will always bring in the minimum projection of at least 1. And that's actually a really good reminder for me to tell you guys, no matter what, the minimum for a max projection will be 2. The minimum for a max projection is 2, because you always want a 2-point buffer between the minimum and the maximum numbers. So this bucket right here, last year 3, you see it says 0.33 to 0.55. Well, this rounds down to 0. This does not just round up to 1. This rounds up to 2. We want a 2-point buffer. That is, for as long as I've analyzed this, those are the rules, because I know better. You want at least a 2-point buffer. And it really doesn't change. It doesn't really hurt the projections. You're still going to be able to narrow down and find the correct amount of golfers from each bucket. But yes, you want 2. You always want a 2-point buffer between the two. But going back to the anchor buckets, greater than or equal to 2 in the max projection. You see how many buckets have just been removed? And then it leaves us with the minimums here. Now, for me, in this video, what I'm going to do is really just clear these out. You can do this one of 2 ways. Clear out all the check marks that are next to these numbers and select the amount of, totals you want to look at. Normally on any given tournament, I want to see 25 or less, but I'm going to go 20 or less. And we get our last year 1 bucket, recent form 1, recent form 2. We have 3 salary buckets. We're not going to talk about the salary buckets in this video. Just so you know, we want to play a 10, a 9, and a 7. And I think going over the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups, we also saw the same thing. So keep that in mind. And then it's strokes gain 1 and strokes gain 2. And if you want to know what goes in the strokes gain buckets, I highly encourage you to go check out the bucket system video that I have. A link for it in the description of this video. Go check it out. It's an 18-minute long video. The bucket system piece is only like 4 minutes long. Go check that out. Get an understanding of what it is. Or you don't have to. You can just follow the numbers. Strokes gain 1, we want somewhere between 2 to 4. Strokes gain 2, we want somewhere between 1 to 3. So keep that all in mind. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about the last year 1 bucket. We kind of already did. We already have it filtered. But again, if you didn't do this already, on the cheat sheet, go to filter. Clear out all of the check marks and then just select 1. And then that's how you get to your last year 1 bucket. Again, we want 2 to 4. 2 to 4. This is a Friday before Masters week. So it's too early to really tell which golfers we really want to play. But having a max of 4 will limit you on building lineups. And quite frankly, it's hard for me not to gravitate towards Scotty Scheffler. I think the guy is a generational talent. And he's going to be the closest we're ever going to see to Tiger Woods. He's never going to be Tiger Woods, but he's the closest we've got. He's the best ball striker on the planet. As long as the putter is cooperating with him, he's a top 5 machine. And when the putter's not cooperating with him, he's a top 10 machine. So I think Scotty is just a slam dunk easy choice. But if you want to be contrarian, you got your guys right down here. And again, we want somewhere between 2 to 4. So if I'm going with Scotty, the likelihood of me being able to get 4 golfers from this bucket in a lineup that makes sense, probably going to be very difficult. I think there are ways we can do this that are intelligent, and I think the best way to attack this is to say which golfers are not going to finish inside the top 10. I'd say Colin Morikawa is not going to finish inside the top 10. Shane Lowry's not going to finish inside the top 10. Tom Kim is certainly not going to finish inside the top 10. Actually, this could be one of those plays, a contrarian play, because he looks awful. He looks awful. He's been looking awful for the last 2 months. This could be the tournament where he just turns around and plays well. But let's just say he's not going to finish inside the top 10. I also don't think Russell Henley is going to finish inside the top 10. I think this is kind of like a home field event for him. He's got pretty good course history, and he plays decent on bent grass. But let's say he's not. I also don't think Justin Rose will. He's had a very historical good run at this golf course. I just don't think it's going to happen. So too, do I think Gary Woodland will not finish inside the top 10. I don't think Cam Young will finish inside the top 10. And then I also don't think Joaquin Niemann will finish inside the top 10. Or even Victor Hovland. That's a hot take. Seeing Victor Hovland's game over the last couple months, I don't like it. So that leaves us with, like Phil's borderline, by the way. Patrick Reed proved me wrong last year. I didn't think he was going to play well at all. Man, you know what? I'll make a stand. I don't think Patrick Reed finishes inside the top 10. I don't think Sungjae Im finishes inside the top 10. And then we're stuck with those. Phil, Sahith, Hideki, Jordan, Patrick, Xander, Brooks. Yeah, I think that's actually the right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 golfers, and we need to slim that down to 4. Now, I will think more about this as the week goes on, just giving you some food for thought. I do want to move on to the next bucket, but I do think those 9 golfers are probably the golfers we need to figure out who we want to play. Recent form 1. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure all the check marks are selected for the numbers, and then clear out all of the ones for recent form and just select 1. This bucket is much smaller. We have 9 golfers, and the projection here is 1 to 3. So recent form 1, we want 1 to 3 golfers from this bucket in our lineup, and that stays pretty common with this projection over here. I always use this projection just as a conservative number, but it looks like 1 to 3 is a really good number. Well, I already saw some of the golfers. We have Scotty Scheffler, Xander, Sahith, Hideki, golfers that were in the last year 1 bucket. Now 1 to 3 means 1 to 3. If you don't think, you know, from the last bucket that Sahith would finish inside the top 10 or Hideki or Xander, then it's Scotty. You're going to select Scotty, and maybe that's it. And you just skip the rest. Or when you look at this bucket, maybe you did like Xander. Maybe you did like Matsuyama. Maybe you liked Sahith, or maybe even Shane Lowry. Maybe you liked, you know, a combination of 2, 3, or 4 of these golfers. But then you come to this bucket and you're like, well, shoot. I like Wyndham Clark more than I like Xander. We'll make the substitution then. That's easy. Just make that substitution. So maybe you start your lineups with Scotty Wyndham, which would be very difficult to finish out your lineup, but it'd be very unique. Or maybe you're just like, okay, this is my pivot. I'm going to go from Scotty to Wyndham. It opens me up to Xander and Sahith Theegala. I'm starting right there. Those 3 golfers are going to be the 1 to 3 that I want to build my lineups around. Remember, again, this bucket, we want 1 to 3 golfers. It could very well just be Scotty and Scotty alone. Or maybe there's 2 golfers from this bucket and it's Scotty and Sahith. So just throwing that out there. Going to the next bucket, recent form 2s, we want 1 to 3 there as well. So all I have to do is uncheck 1 and check 2. You guys can do that on the cheat sheet. And then you can see some of the golfers here. We had Cam Young, who was in the last year 1 bucket, and that's it. He's the only guy that was in that last year 1 bucket. Now this could tell you one of a couple things. He fits both of the buckets we were just looking, or, you know, the recent form 2 and last year 1. That doesn't really guarantee he's going to have success here, but if that's enough reason for you to pivot off of whoever and get to Cam Young, or if you weren't thinking about playing Cam Young, here you go. Here's a good reason to do so, because he's in 2 of the anchor buckets. Why not? However, this bucket, I mean, you've got Rory. You know what? Can we make a case for Cam Young? So I'm not playing Malnati, staying away from him. Here, I'll do the same thing I did in last year 1. Who's not going to finish inside the top 10? Peter Malnati is not going to finish inside the top 10. Neither is Grayson Murray, Lee Hodges. I'll have to think more about Eckroat, but let's just kick him out as well. Taylor Moore is not going to finish inside the top 10. Jake Knapp, ooh. Eric Van Rooyen is not going to finish inside the top 10. So I would eliminate those 6 altogether, like right away, like just instantly. And then it's like, okay, Jake Knapp and Chris Kirk up. Who do we not like? I mean, Jake Knapp being a debutant, his game has looked shaky, so I'm going to kick him out. I also don't think he's going to finish inside the top 10. And then it's a toss-up. I mean, Nick Taylor's been playing some really good golf. I would have kicked him out because I don't think his driving accuracy has been, in historical terms, like in the past, accurate enough to really play at Augusta. But he could actually, I mean, who knows? Maybe he's just a different dude. He's won twice within the last, what, 40 weeks? Something like that. Not saying he can't win the Masters. So yeah, this one might be a more challenging cut. Now, here's the thing. If there's not a clear-cut winner from the golfers that I've selected, I think you just don't play Rory then, right? I also don't think Tony Finau's finishing inside the top 10. That ain't happening. I didn't even see his name. I don't think that's happening. But of these golfers, I selected 8. We need to, again, the projection's 1 to 3. We need to figure out who the other golfers are. Chris Kirk is a good stocking stuffer, if you want to call it that, $6,900. Yeah, that works, but I don't think he's really got the gusto to finish inside the top 10 or even be in the optimal lineup. So now I'm down to 7 golfers. Again, I'm not going to really try to really figure out which golfer to play, but I think that's what I would leave that at. And then again, we're going to skip the salary buckets and go down to the strokes gain buckets. Now, here's the easy thing about strokes gain. Just make sure you have no filter set and go into the strokes gain bucket and just go sort A to Z. And you're going to see they're all color coordinated. So here are all your strokes gain 1 golfers and then your strokes gain 2 golfers right here. Now, both of these buckets, let's see, we want 2 to 4, very close to 1 to 4. I can explain that. Well, here, I'll explain right now. If this was under 3, this would round down, or to me, okay, if this was under 3, say this was 2.99, that means it rounds up to 3, and because this is a max projection, I want my minimum to be 1. But this is more of like a conservative number. This is including the sweet spot scores. So if this was 2.99, again, I'd round up to 3 for the max projection, which means the minimum, no matter what, has to be 1. But instead of using this max projection of 3, I will use this one. So then the spread would be 1 to 4. Like the projection would be 1 to 4. So it's very close of being 1 to 4. Now, here's the thing. We can analyze the golfers that are in this bucket and try to figure out, does 1 to 4 sound better than 2 to 4? Or do we absolutely know 2 golfers are going to finish inside the top 10? And if that's the case, then obviously we select the 2 to 4 projection. And quite frankly, looking at it, you know, Rory's playing pretty good at the Valero Texas Open. Brooks has done well here before. We'll see what he does at the Live tournament. I think that's a tune-up for most of them. The one that's in Miami at Doral. Wyndham Clark has played really well. Xander is a top 5 machine. So right away, I think Xander is the clear-cut pick for finishing inside the top 10. I think that's a slam dunk. A lot of people are going to be on Sahith Theegala. I do think he has the potential to finish inside the top 10. I also have a really good feeling about Adam Scott this year at the Masters. I'm kind of curious about Tyrrell Hatton. He currently sits at number 7 in my model. And that has a lot to do with like the grass stats and stuff like that comes with this tournament. So I'm very curious about that. So I think this projection is still going to be 2 to 4. There are some golfers I just don't see winning this tournament, but when it comes to lineup building, we might need to select some of those guys just because. Scrolling down to the strokes gain 2, this projection was 1 to 3. It is close to being 0 to 3. And again, just like I was talking about the strokes gain 1 bucket, if we look at the field or the golfers in this bucket, and there are no good ones, we could say it's 0 to 3. And it's close. It is close. Because I like Jon Rahm. I like Jordan Spieth. And that's probably, I'll just be real with you all. That's probably it. Like, there are fillers that I don't mind. I don't mind filling with like Emiliano Grillo. I think that's fine. I'm very curious about Matthew Pavon. Min Woo Lee has had a top 10 finish here before. What was it, 2 years ago, I believe? Or not top 10. I think he was in the optimal lineup. Was that last year? Yeah. 2022, he was in the optimal lineup. He finished 14th, but you can finish 14th and be in the optimal because you get eagles to go along with bogeys and double bogeys that kick you out of finishing place, but scoring place, it can happen that way. He's been playing awful though, so I don't think it's him. So like Grillo, I like. Pavon, I'm interested in. I'm gonna stay away from Minwoo, Patrick Reed, Tom Kim, Sung J M. So Day and Burns are on the cusp type of golfers that I'd want to play. I don't like either of them. Like Jason Day just missed a cut that he shouldn't have. He missed it in the worst way. He doubled the last hole to miss the cut by 1. He double bogeyed the last hole. Is 150-yard par 3 that he hooked probably 40 yards, missed it way left over by the bleachers, and then hit bad chip after bad chip, then 2-putted to get his double bogey. It was awful. That type of stuff I don't like because it doesn't make me feel confident that he's going to be able to play well. Sam Burns just hasn't looked like old Sam Burns, so these are also interest plays. So it's like Sam Burns, Jason Day, and Matthew Pavon are interest plays. I am comfortable playing Emiliano Grillo. I'm comfortable playing Jordan Spieth, and I'm comfortable playing Jon Rahm. The rest of them I'm not. Like, I'm interested in some of those golfers, but I'm not comfortable playing any of these. I might change this bucket to a 0 to 3. When it comes down to building lineups Tuesday night on the strategy video, I might change this to a 0 to 3. Just throwing that out there. And then that's going to wrap up the bucket system portion of this video. I want to remind you guys of the giveaways that I am doing. I have a $100 or the potential to be a $100 giveaway Tuesday night. We need to get to 700 subscribers. You see that all the way over there to the left? We're at 680 out of 700. If we get to 700, I'm giving away $100 Tuesday night. And if you want an entry into it, all you gotta do is be subscribed and comment down below. I'm going to be posting videos every single week leading up to the Masters. You have an opportunity to comment on all of them to get one entry per video to only increase your chances, your odds to win $100. Just again, you have a chance to win $100 by just subscribing to the channel and commenting down below. Now, again, we have to reach 700 subscribers. That's all I wanted to leave you with. I'm excited for the Masters. Tuesday night, strategy video live. I will be building lineups. We'll be going over the finishing touches of the SweetSpot process and hopefully building ourselves a $1 million winner. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll talk to you Tuesday night. All right, bye.